Welcome back to Bits Be Trippin'. In this episode of Bits Be Trippin', we're going to cover the Sapphire VaporX. This is another high-end line of the R9 280X by Sapphire with slightly lower clocks and boost and slightly less on the memory speed. So, this is your host Carter. Let's get into this. So you're probably thinking, hey, yet another card from Sapphire that lights up and looks cool. But the real question is, does this thing actually put out any hashes, and is it comparable to the other 280s that are out there? Why I want to tell you as loud as I can, yes, we kind of ran into some issues with this card. And doing a little bit of research, we actually found quite a few other people finding some difficulty with this card, especially when it starts to heat up. Just a quick Google search pulls up a thread pretty quick on an individual that really put some time and some pretty funny effort into trying to identify exactly what the problem with this card is. Now, don't get me wrong, the thing does hash and it hashes pretty good, but there's obviously some issues with the BIOS that's included on some of the cards that are out there. This particular card that we got actually has this, I would call it the troublesome BIOS. Now, not to confuse that this BIOS actually causes the card not to work or anything. That's not the case. The case is if you have the BIOS version 015.039, you're good to go. Put this card in, start hashing right away, 735 to 750, no problem. However, if you have BIOS version 015.041, it's a different story. Now, not to totally commandeer the effort that was put on that thread from the user that actually did a lot of the research and identified what I would say is a very good analysis on showing the moment the card starts to get exceeding 72 Celsius, the hashes start to tank. The card really throttles down for some reason, which from the best that we can tell is an error in the coding of the BIOS driver. Now, since we were using this in an open air rig, I didn't find it very fair. I wanted to make sure that we tested it inside of a rig. So the video that we do have actually puts it in a rig. We have it by itself. We only got one of these guys, but I did want to do some real testing inside of a case that a normal person would have if they purchased this card and wanted to hedge a little and do some mining with the card itself. See if we could maintain the temperature below 72 Celsius, maybe with the top open and then just the fan turned on full. What we found is full throttle hashing. That's really hard to do inside of a normal case unless you have an external fan really blowing down onto it. I would chalk this card up as a medium. Based on the price right now, around that 400, 420 mark, this card really should be positioned right around that 360 by comparison to other cards that you can purchase and that do not have this issue with the throttling down when the temperature gets over 72 Celsius. If by chance one of those Sapphire techs, you guys watch this video, please take note of this, run it up your chain and get this BIOS fixed for folks. We want to use this card. It's a good looking card. A lot of people that have open air rigs like that extra lighting. It makes things look cool, let's be honest. And finally, as for power usage of this card, it was a little lower than, let's say, the Toxic or the Tri-X that we've tried before. The card's a lot more efficient, it seems, with the power, but then again, it's not pushing 800 hash either. In closing, if you can get this card at a pretty good discount, around 340, 360 price range, you can take that shot at holding around that 660, 700 hash on that .41 BIOS. But quite honestly, until they fix that BIOS, there's a lot of better options out there. Now, of course, the one thing I do love about the internet is somebody that is successful with something better than us on something, they have no problem putting their comments below. So please, if you have a good rate for this card, do share it. People love you when you do. Now, moving on, we're going to take a few minutes to talk about the Creeper. There's been quite a few questions about it, and if you're not interested in the Creeper piece here, just wait towards the end. Just go ahead and skip ahead. We got something that you definitely want to see at the end here. Now, as for the Creeper, several questions. Is it cardboard? What is it? So here we're going to unveil what the Creeper in the background is. It is a 12-inch sub speaker box, fully encased earthquake amp, computer power supply, mind you. This was designed and built by one of the BBT members here. We love it to death. We've taken it out to different events. This thing is insanely loud. This is a ported and vented box, all MDF. We're going to throw down the dimensions for you in the video. We'll even pause the screen here and give you kind of a layout of all the dimensions. If you felt like building one of these yourself, we'll put the wire diagram down, a link below. If if you guys wanted to try to replicate this. This thing is awesome. It's very heavy, but not only is it a good looking piece for the studio, but the thing just is unbelievable. We love it to death, but I wanted to give it kind of a shot of what it is and what it looks like, and give you guys some options if you wanted to build one yourself. We're building a replica Mario version of the same kind of design. We think it's gonna look pretty cool too. Maybe it might show up in the studio one day. Just a few pan shots for you. Let us know what you think. Wanted to get that cleared up of what it was and how cool that was. Now in closing, the piece I wanted you guys to hang out for, 6 toxic 280X R9s, one box. We're putting 3 power supplies in this thing. Why? Because we can. We want to show you that you can spread the wealth on some of that value buying 3 power supplies, not buying, you know, $300 power supply. Buy a few $79 power supplies, put them together, make this thing work. I want to show you, walk you through that, how we got the rig to work. We're going to be a little more explicit on some of the detail pieces of putting this rig together and making 6 cards work with one board. Answer some of the questions that you guys have been posting down there. I think this will be more of a clear and concise episode to really bring a 6-card rig to you guys with a little better explanation. And why not throw some 280s in there, right? Let people know, tweet, hit us up. We'll get those questions answered. Thanks for sticking in there, guys. Catch you later.